Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Ruach HaKodesh. And this title is going to be called Beware of False Prophets and Stumbling Blocks. Meaning how you gotta beware of who you're listening to for the correct message, the correct breakdowns of all of the scriptures, meaning and everything. Because GMS got the 100% truth, but these other camps, that aren't following, the ways of GMS, they're pretty much all stumbling blocks. Because they're not got the correct breakdowns. They're not following the correct doctrine that they need to follow. Like a lot of these camps don't even warn you about the MOTB, which is a core prophecy that's set to come. And you don't even know that, man. So you gotta be watching who you're listening to, man. A lot of camps and a lot of these people are fake. So you make sure you're actually listening to a true prophet, GMS. A lot of these other camps don't teach correctly. They don't break it down right. They end up leading you astray, and end up leading you to not come onto this word. All because they taught you falsely. So you need to pray to the Lord that you actually are sent true people. But next, let me read Acts 14 and 22. Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So, pretty much how the elect, are going to have to go through many trials, tribulations that we have to suffer through. But we got to continue in the faith while we're going through it. Which is why you need to be built up correctly. Make sure you're getting the full understanding of the scriptures. Like what precept means that. Where does it connect to? Everything. Because we're suffering for the Lord here. And we're going to be united back to the Lord with great, power. Because we're going to be working through Him. Which that's what we need. That we can be made perfect. But next, let me get Matthew 24. For there shall rise false Hamashiach and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So there's a lot of false, teachers. And, like I said, false Hamashiachs that if it were possible, it would deceive the very elect. But they won't deceive the elect. Because the elect are destined to not be deceived. It says if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. By that, meaning that everyone that's not the elect is pretty much going to be deceived. So yeah, pray to the Lord that you don't be blinded, man. That you really get the true understanding. But next, let me get Jeremiah 28 and 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against the great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. So the true prophets, are not down with the world. No true prophet is down with the world. They don't want to be, a part of this world. And everyone who's part of this world, they're going to end up falling. Along with Babylon, because all this wickedness, they're in it. A lot of people that are teaching, they don't come in the name of the Lord. They end up leading many people astray, going all off. Teaching false doctrines. You better pray to the Lord that the Lord guides you to the correct teachers that you need to be given. Otherwise, you're going to be leading straight to your doom. Next, let me get well, hold on. Matthew 24 and 11. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Which just reinforces what we read. How there's many false prophets. They ain't breaking down the true scriptures, ain't giving you the true breakdown. They're not breaking down correctly. So I pray that you get the true understanding. Otherwise, you're wasting your time listening to some guy, ramble about, false teachings. And that's why they gotta not be down with this world. If they're with this world, then they're not the true prophets, man. As it says in Jeremiah 28 and 8, like we just read, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied against both many countries and against great kingdoms. So the prophets ain't for the world. People need to get that understanding. Prophets are never of the world. They're of the Lord. That want to serve Him to the best of their ability. So if people are talking about, they might be breaking down the scriptures and everything, but if they're not breaking it down or teaching about how Babylon's going to fall, they're not teaching any of that, then there's no point in following him. He's a stumbling block. Because if he ain't teaching the 100%, then ultimately he's going off. Because prophets are never of the world. They never have been. They always prophesied, as it says, they always prophesied against many kingdoms. So even these kings and societies in them, in the kingdoms, they were never for the prophets. But next, let me get Jeremiah 29:8. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, let not your prophets and your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which ye cause to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them, saith Yahweh. See, Yahweh says, I have not sent them. So there's a lot of false prophets out here, man. A lot of false prophets. Deceiving many people. So you gotta watch who you're truly listening to. And like I said, if they ain't men of GMS, then more than likely they're more than likely wrong. So watch who you're getting your understanding from. Understand what they mean. Understand what the scriptures mean. And pray to the Lord that you get the understanding of the scriptures. Because that's the only way. But next, let me get Matthew 7:15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravaging wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? See, so you gotta make sure what they're teaching is true, and it's profitable. And if it's not profitable, like you're just getting taught some useless information, then there could be a warning to you need to get out of there. And truly come back to the Lord and not listen to these false prophets. Number 17. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. See, so you want that good fruit. You don't want that fucking rotten ass fruit that just poisons you. 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. So all those that are hewn down and cast into the fire, that's talking about Babylon. You're gonna end up being receiving judgment along with Babylon and all the people in it, because your fruits weren't positive. They weren't nutritional. Said they were poisonous, false teachings. The Lord don't want that shit. The Lord wants true understanding and breakdowns given. Especially if you claim to, prophesy from the Lord. Number 20. Whereby by their fruits ye shall know them. So by your works that you do, your teachings, that's how you know that if they got a true understanding or not. But at the end of the day, it's only for the elect to know. Because those that aren't of the elect, they're already blind. They already been blinded. They already been put to sleep. You've already been predestined to not receive the understanding and to receive judgment on this side. And you gotta pray that's not your lot that you have to follow after. You have to fulfill. You gotta pray that your lot is to be delivered. And being faithful. Next, let me get Matthew 15 and 14. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. So to someone with no understanding, with no real understanding of the scriptures, leading other people that don't understand the scriptures, they're going to end up both dying. As it says, they're both going to fall into the ditch. So at the end of the day, those who follow blind people with no true understanding, you're going to end up receiving the same judgment as him. Because you're all both, because you can end up pretty much, both of y'all could be teaching false doctrines, and because of that, the Lord, has it reserved for judgment. Because you ain't breaking down the scriptures correctly. You followed after a false teacher. You didn't, really check your surroundings, pretty much. You didn't examine him. So watch who you're getting your understanding from. But anyway, was that. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And until the next time, I'm going to say Shalom.